They knocked the new boy out cold. No warning, no mercy, just 2 hits in the clubhouse shadows. And he dropped hard. The members laughed, called it initiation, wrote it off as proving ground, because to them, he was just another fresh prospect. No patch on his back, no reputation at the table, just a quiet face with a borrowed leather cut, and no one asking where he came from. But what they didn't know was that the boy they floored, he was the national president's right hand. And he wasn't unconscious. He was waiting for the moment to wake up, step back into that clubhouse, and remind every single one of them what loyalty actually costs. Now, before we show you the exact move that wiped the arrogance off their faces and the words he spoke that froze the whole room in place, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Tap subscribe with the bell icon on and get ready. Because this time the new boy wasn't new. He was legend. The wind coming off Route 38 always carried weight. Not loud, not violent, just steady. On the far northern edge of Black Ridge County, beyond the rusted chain-link fence and abandoned grain silos, diesel exhaust mixed with prairie dust. Down here at the Iron Vale Clubhouse, there was no room for doubt. Marcus Cole pulled his bike into the gravel lot without ceremony. No one greeted him. His boots landed clean on the packed dirt. Single duffel strapped to the sissy bar. Plain black leather cut. No top rocker, no bottom rocker, just a temporary prospect patch. Behind the tinted windows of the main lodge, a younger member watched him dismount. "You think he's law?" he murmured. "Probably audit compliance," his buddy replied. "Another bureau plant." Past the gate, metallic clangs echoed, wrenches slamming against workbenches, bike lifts being reset. From behind the repair bay, Sergeant-at-Arms Tanner Drake leaned against oil drums. "That him?" Road Captain Vic Lennox squinted past the haze. "Yep, Cole. Transfer from National. No chapter history. Looks like a placeholder." Drake snorted. "Probably here to write a violation report." The two of them chuckled as he passed, his pace unhurried, head straight. He didn't look at them, but somehow he took in everything. The assignment board near the clubhouse entrance listed his name near the bottom. Cole. Prospect rotation, transfer eval, no fanfare, no welcome, just a name on a board. He exhaled once and stepped inside. Just another quiet man with a patch, and no one, not yet, bothered to ask what he was really there to see. The afternoon sun refracted off chrome pipes and tinted windshields. The road crew had assembled without delay. Mixed ranks, full patches, prospects, a few hangarounds. That's how Drake ran his initiations. Anonymity bred respect. "All right," he barked, tossing a pair of riding gloves to one of the prospects. "One-on-one endurance. Take the hits or stay standing. No taps, just pride." Marcus stood at the edge, adjusting his wrist. Raps. Drake turned toward him, half grin curling. "You planning to handshake us to death, prospect?" A few snickers broke out. He looked up. "I plan to stay on my feet," he said. There wasn't a single note of sarcasm in his voice, which somehow made it worse. Vic stepped forward. "We pairing by rank or weight?" Drake shrugged. "Neither. We're pairing by reality. You want to ride, you'd better survive the concrete." He motioned to Marcus. "After you, prospect." The first few exchanges were quick. Vic moved with a shoulder rush, testing balance. Marcus shifted, counterbalanced, blocked with a hip check. But the second move came dirty. A quick inside hook disguised as a slip. His boot wrapped Marcus's ankle, and he twisted hard. Marcus hit the concrete. On his side, shoulder first, air rushing out in a quiet grunt. He pushed up immediately. No wince, no hesitation. Vic gave him a mock shrug. "Sorry, must have slipped." By the third round, whispered remarks circled. "No way he's national command. Looks like he's never even ridden cross-country." Down on the floor, Marcus stood alone again, breathing measured. Vic gave Drake a look like he'd proven something. Drake only said, "Told you. He's a placement." But the truth was, Marcus had taken the fall. He hadn't missed it. He'd just logged it for later. By evening, shadows stretched long. Inside the common room, beer bottles clattered between fingers. At the far table, Tanner Drake held court. "You see his face when Vic dropped him," he said, not whispering. "I've seen rookies brace better falling off a moped." Vic smirked. He didn't even protest, just stood there like it was policy review. That's because it is, someone added. He's probably here to write a conduct memo. Good, Drake said. I'll give him something worth writing about. He's got one foot in the paper world, and someone needs to remind him what the asphalt feels like. He leaned forward. I've been riding with this club 17 years. The ones who last, they earn it in the dirt first, not in some national office. He hasn't even been on a real run far as anyone knows. Exactly, Drake said. So we test him. Tonight. Unofficial floor time, just us. No cams after 2100. Vic hesitated. And if he files? Drake shrugged. He won't. People like that fold quiet or they leave. Across the room, Marcus sat alone by the window. His plate barely touched. He hadn't looked over once, but his head was slightly tilted. He picked up his plate, walked out without a sound. Outside, he moved to the bunkhouse and slipped inside the communications room. Empty. He activated the secure line. The voice on the other end was clear. Progress? Predictable, Marcus said. Confirmed engagement scheduled, unofficial this evening. Do you need protocol override? No, he replied. Let them run their test. The line went dead. Marcus unzipped his duffel and pulled out reinforced riding gloves, Kevlar stitching, knuckle plates. Exposed. He wound them slowly around his hands. Then, he stood in front of the mirror. His voice was barely audible. Let's see what physics feels like when it hits back. The clubhouse, after hours, was still. Above the concrete floor, overhead, lights buzzed. Half the fixtures were burnt out. The glow felt like interrogation lighting. Marcus stepped through the side entrance. No bag, just gloves strapped tight. Tanner Drake and Vic Lennox stood near the center with two other senior members, both grinning, cocky. Vic looked him over. Didn't think you'd show. I was curious, he said simply. How much you rely on uneven odds? Drake chuckled. It's not about odds. It's about gravity. He tossed him a mouthguard. You want to make this clean? He didn't take it. Rules of contact? Full body, Vic answered. No strikes to the throat, no blindside attacks. Of course, Drake added. We're professionals. Marcus nodded once. Then proceed. The first exchanges were legitimate. One senior member tested his balance with a clinch and drag. Marcus shifted low, broke contact. Clean. The second came harder with a shoulder check. Marcus rolled with it, recovered. Drake circled closer. You've got some balance. Then came the snap. Drake lunged with a sharp left elbow, tight, fast. It caught Marcus' temple side just above the eye. His head jerked. Vic followed with a sudden shove from behind. His forearm connected with Marcus's jaw as he turned. That one dropped him. He hit the concrete hard, the thick, sickening thud of a body shutting down. His gloves twitched. One boot scraped. Then nothing. For 2 seconds, the men stood frozen. He went down too fast. He breathing? Vic knelt. Yeah, pulse is steady. Drake checked his eyes. Out cold. Clean hit. Not clean, Vic snapped. That elbow wasn't part of it. Drake stood. Doesn't matter. He walked into the ring. They dragged him to the bench against the wall. No one called the medic. No one radioed National. Write it off as heat exhaustion, one muttered. Drake stared down. This doesn't go anywhere. The others nodded, but as they turned, none of them saw his fingers shift, just the subtlest intake of breath, controlled, measured. Then his eyes fluttered once. Marcus Cole was waking up. The air smelled like motor oil and old leather. Marcus opened his eyes. No flinch, just light. His body ached, bruise forming, jaw tight, temple throbbing. 4 seconds inhale, hold. 6 seconds exhale. The room was empty, just him on the bench. He sat up slowly. Vision stable. He turned toward the mirror, swollen mark across his temple, purpling. Lower lip split clean. But his mind was running the sequence. Drake's elbow, textbook cheap shot. Vic's shove, coordinated timing. The third man circling, classic pack behavior. He'd seen it in Oakland, in Tulsa. Except those were enemy clubs. His fingers reached beneath the bench. His duffel had been dumped. He pulled it close. Inside, AYAS, small folded patch, his regulation ID, the emblem most hadn't seen. Iron Veil MC, National Enforcer. A silver skull with crossed wrenches. He clipped it behind his prospect tag where it wouldn't show, then stood. His gait didn't limp. He walked once around the floor. No wobble, no anger, just equilibrium. His voice was barely a whisper. Guess we're done pretending. He walked into the night. The clubhouse was quiet. 3 members, Drake, Vic, and a senior man, stood on the floor, laughing. They hadn't expected an audience. The door opened. Marcus stepped in, just the faint swell of bruising on his temple and stiffness in his shoulder. He didn't stop until he reached the floor. You forgot to log the injury report. All turned. Drake blinked, then grinned. Didn't think you'd be standing this soon. I was never lying down, he said. Drake stepped forward. If you're here to file a grievance, there's a protocol. This is the protocol, he said. Something in the air shifted. Marcus stepped onto the floor, his movements economical, every joint aligned. He stood squarely. I believe the phrase was, "Continue where you left off." Drake laughed once, unsure. You serious? I'm operational now. Rules of contact. Same as before, except this time you follow them. Silence. Then Drake nodded. All right. He raised his guard, stepped forward. Still underestimating. Marcus's first move was defensive, simple redirection. He stepped inside Drake's swing, caught the arm, redirected it past his hip. Textbook. Drake came in heavier, a lunge grab combo. Marcus ducked, pivoted, struck with one palm into the ridge of his collarbone. A thud. Final. Drake dropped to his knees, wheezed, couldn't lift his arm, his nervous system short-circuited. Still think physics is on your side? Marcus asked softly. Vic stepped in, aggressive, angry. Marcus shifted, evade, turn, trap, sweep. Vic's feet left the ground, then he hit the floor flat, pinned. The third man didn't move. Marcus stood above them. This was your demonstration. Let's make sure everyone learns from it. None spoke, just silence. Drake stood back up, shaking out numbness. You had your turn. Now I take mine. Marcus adjusted his stance. Knees loose, back heel planted. Just readiness. Drake lunged wild and fast. His body weight pushed forward, arms wide. Marcus didn't move until the last half second. Then it happened fast. He sidestepped, redirected Drake's momentum with his arm across his neck, pivoted behind him. Before Drake's foot could plant, Marcus's arm locked deep across his throat, palm to bicep, elbow tucked, pressure tight, textbook rear naked choke. 3 seconds. 4. Drake staggered. 5. His knees buckled. Marcus eased him down. His head hit concrete. His body slackened. 9 seconds. Over. The men stood frozen, dead quiet except for the wall clock resetting, like it had watched and decided to start again. In the corner, a prospect lowered a phone that had captured everything, eyes wide, silent. Vic sat up on the floor's edge, not looking, not speaking. Marcus looked at the third man. You still standing? He shook his head. Not anymore. Marcus's expression didn't shift. Good. He walked to the bench, unstrapped his gloves slowly. Before leaving, he spoke. No malice. That's the difference between violence and control. As he stepped toward the door, the prospect asked, Do we file the report? Marcus didn't turn. File your own reports. And then he was gone. Just silence. And the sound of 3 men remembering what it felt like to underestimate someone with nothing to prove. The prospect, Tyler Ortiz, stood frozen, his phone warm. He replayed the choke 3 times. 9 seconds. Textbook. He saved the file, uploaded it to the club safety server under incident documentation, standard procedure. By 0200, the file had been accessed 4 times. By 0600, the National Council had flagged it for review. Inside the national office, the club president replayed the video twice. He only paused once at File your own reports. By 0730, a summons had been issued. In the conference room, Marcus sat straight-backed, hands flat on the table. No counsel. Just him and 3 officers, President Callahan, VP Reeves, and a legal liaison. We've reviewed the footage, Callahan said, all of it. Marcus didn't speak. Reeves tapped a file. You engaged 3 senior members outside scheduled operations. Care to explain? They initiated contact the previous night, unrecorded, off the books. I responded under regulation rules. Callahan raised an eyebrow. You consider a chokehold regulatory? I consider silence more dangerous, especially after a concussion-level strike. The liaison cut in. Do you have documentation? Marcus slid a folder across. Inside, time-stamped photos, minor swelling, split lip, documented by the medic, and the injury waiver Drake failed to file. The liaison leaned forward. This is the third incident involving Drake in 18 months. Previous two were flagged but not prosecuted. Both juniors withdrew complaints. Callahan's jaw tightened. I wasn't briefed. You were, the liaison cut in. Marked as resolved through mediation, which meant the juniors transferred and Drake stayed. He tapped the photo. This time someone didn't fold. Greaves leaned back. Callahan sighed. You could have pushed for expulsion. I wasn't interested in headlines, Marcus said. I was interested in standards. The president tapped the desk. Effective immediately. Drake and Lennox are suspended pending separation. All authority revoked. Third party reassigned without prejudice. He turned to Marcus. And you, Cole? Marcus stood. Request reassignment to enforcement oversight. Reeves squinted. Not looking for commendation? He paused. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for standards. He walked out before anyone could offer praise. The sun dropped, low over the compound. Most of the clubhouse had gone quiet. On the western edge, one figure moved alone. Marcus Cole. No audience, just controlled motion. His bruises still faintly marked his face, but his posture showed no strain. Behind him, footsteps. A young prospect stopped 10 feet back. Sir, he asked. Marcus didn't turn, just lowered his hand and waited. The prospect swallowed. I just wanted to say, we didn't know who you were. His voice was soft. That's not the point. Then what is? Marcus turned. Not stern, just steady. The point is that now you do. The prospect nodded, then saluted. Marcus returned it with a single nod. As he walked off, another pair of prospects glanced his direction, then away. A quiet kind of respect. Earned, not instructed. Marcus turned back toward the highway. His feet stayed planted, but his shadow no longer moved alone. Behind him, the sun dipped under the horizon, and what remained was silence. Not the kind born of dismissal, but the kind that follows when no one questions your place anymore. If someone knocked you out just to prove they were tougher, would you strike back right then? Or wait for the moment discipline could expose everything? And do you think real control, the kind that doesn't flinch, doesn't yell, doesn't need applause, is harder to master than raw strength? Drop your answers in the comments. We read every single one. Then tap that like button, hit subscribe, and make sure you've got the bell icon turned on so you never miss a new ride. And if you know someone who still believes silence means weakness, share this story with them. Your next video should already be up on screen. Go ahead and watch it now. We'll see you tomorrow.